What is going on, everyone? Scions here with the Everyday Grind, and today I wanted to talk to you about Path of Exile 2. Is the game casual player friendly? Is it too hard for the everyday player? Or is this game only for the elite RPG game player? After 60 hours of gameplay and several reroll characters before deciding on the monk, I have the answers you need. Before I start, I want to emphasize that Path of Exile 2 is in early access and is not finished by any means. This early access is really just a beta test for all of us to give Grinding Gear Games some feedback on what we'd like to see in an epic RPG game. Things like server downtime, buffs and nerfs to classes, and passive skill tree changes will happen throughout the process. One of the first things I noticed in the first week of release gameplay when starting out on a new character was how easy the first 6 levels were. The game looked and played great. However, once I got to level 7, I started going up against much harder rare and elite monsters. As an everyday player and a casual player, I was shocked at how hard the ramp up in difficulty was. What I noticed in the first week was most of what you did was roll out of the way of incoming damage to dodge it, come back in to hit the boss once or twice, and then roll out again, which tended to make these fights way too long. Early on, with minimal Path of Exile playing experience, I was thinking, how is the everyday player going to like playing this game? I butted my head up against the wall with low RNG loot drops and poor damage output due to not being able to secure a decent weapon or obtain overly useful passive skills that really help my survivability or damage to groups of mobs or rare spawns. When fighting some of the bosses in Act 1, I found them extremely difficult, overtuned, and they dropped very little gear. I started out as a ranger and couldn't get through the first Act 2 boss after the first 4 days of playing, so I switched it up to my first monk, which didn't last long. I then started a fire sorceress, but found the class had low to no survivability, probably due to my gameplay, and then finally I went back to monk. While Grinding Gear Games is hard at work making sure the servers are stable and making changes to bosses, classes, loot drops, and overall gameplay, which they've done very well so far, the first week of the game was very rough, as to be expected. I will say that my usual gameplay style as an everyday player is just to swoop in, hit the boss a few times, have them fall over, and collect my loot. I can say this game does not allow that. Situational awareness, the ability to dodge roll out of harm's way, and have the patience to go out and level a bit more because the boss I was fighting was too hard for my level or gear level was actually quite refreshing. I started to think about the Diablo series of games, and while I played all of them from the original Diablo through Diablo 4, I never really thought they were overly hard or difficult. Path of Exile 2, I was quickly learning, was meant to be a challenge. As I continued to play the game, get better gear, look up changes to the builds, and listen to other players who have been very helpful, by the way, I began to acclimate myself to the game. I found as an everyday player, I was having so much fun, I didn't even realize it. I went from feeling very frustrated to kind of liking the game to loving the game. The game is still very challenging at times, and I do have to stand back and think, what am I doing wrong? Or looking to see if I need to upgrade my gear or make some changes on the passive skill tree. But isn't this what a good game does? It challenges you. It moves you out of your comfort zone. It directs you to seek more knowledge. I'm not a top level player by any measurement. However, I am enjoying the challenges as I continue to level as an everyday player. With more changes coming for us to test in the early access of Path of Exile 2, the game continues to get better and the changes are enhancing the gameplay for players of all skill levels. I have not been paid, coerced, or sponsored to make this video, and I wanted to provide a true and ethical review of this game after I've played it to all of the everyday and casual game players out there. My personal recommendation is that Path of Exile 2 is a great game for players of all skill levels. This game will be free to play next year with zero pay to win. That's right, zero pay to win, as stated by Grinding Gear Games, and they have not let us down yet. I hope you've enjoyed my take on this game. Please take the time to subscribe, comment on what you thought about this non-sponsored video of Path of Exile 2. You can catch my live streams 5 days a week on both YouTube and Twitch. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.